Hello, dear students of grade 5. Today, inshallah, we will revise the lesson of the stars. You know that the stars are gigantic balls of very hot gases that gives off radiation. While the sun is medium star, there is a lot of stars that are bigger than the sun. There are stars known as giants that it may reach to 100 times as large as the sun. And the supergiants may be reached to 30 times as large as the Sun. Well, the Sun's mass is nearly 2 million trillion trillion kilogram. It equals, you may put 2, followed by 30 zero. Very well. The Sun has more than 1 million times the volume of Earth. The Sun has more than 1 million times the volume of Earth. So how scientists calculate the mass of the Sun? By the speed of the planets and the shape of their orbits. How they calculate the mass of the Sun? By the speed of the planets and the shape of their orbits. Do you know how much hot is the Sun? Well, the outer part of the Sun is about 5,500 Celsius. The inner core could be as hot as 15 million Celsius. The inner core could reach to 15 million Celsius, but the outer part temperature is 5,500 Celsius. The sun's atmosphere. Well, the innermost layer of the sun is called the photosphere. What is the importance of this photosphere? It gives off the light energy that you see. Well, the next layer is called the chromosphere, while the outermost layer is called the corona. The outermost layer is called corona. You may also see sunspots moving on the sun, moving on the face of the sun. These dark spots are called sunspots. Well, these sunspots are part of the photosphere, the innermost layer. The dark spots that you see is a part of the photosphere. Sometimes they may reach the size of the Earth or larger. Why they look dark? They look dark because they are not as hot as the rest of the photosphere. What about the solar eruptions? There are two types of eruptions that take place on the Sun, which are prominence and solar flares. Prominence and solar flare. A prominence looks like a ribbon of glowing gases that leaps out of the chromosphere into the corona. It comes out from the chromosphere to the corona. Well, it may appear for a few days or months, but the solar flare is an explosive eruption, like volcanoes on Earth, of waves and particles into space. So the solar flare is an explosive eruption of waves and particles into space. How long it lasts? It may last for minutes or hours. Well, it's very powerful that it may interrupt radio and satellite communication on Earth. As you see in this picture, this is a solar flare that looks bright and it emits radio waves, visible light, X-ray, plasma, and other radiation that interrupt the communication and radio waves on Earth. What about the constellations? A constellation is a group of stars that form a pattern, form a shape, and people long ago used some names for it, like the Little Dipper or the Big Dipper. Well, one of the most stars that exists in the sky and it used in navigations for the explorer because it always points to the north is Polaris. Polaris or the North Star is a very hot and large yellow-white star. It is almost 2,500 times brighter than the Sun. It is almost 2,500 times brighter than the Sun, which means it emits a lot of light. Okay, As you see in the front picture, there is the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper. And this is Polaris, the North Star. This is Polaris, the North Star. If you just pointed the two bright stars from the Big Dipper to Polaris, you're going to identify it very easy. Okay, well, if you look to the sky, you're going to find that the stars are moving. Actually, they are not moving. It is the Earth's rotation that makes it moving, or it look like to be moving. But actually, most of them are fixed on the sky, especially Polaris that didn't appear to move. If you look to Polaris, you're going to find that it is almost not moving because it's exactly above our axis of the Earth of the North Pole. Very well, let's watch this video.
Gigantic balls of Stars are gigantic balls of very hot gases that give off radiation. The Sun is a star, and while it has 1 million times the volume of Earth and seems huge, it is only a medium-sized star. The Sun gives off large amounts of thermal energy and light energy. Like Earth, the Sun has an atmosphere. The innermost layer is called the photosphere, and it gives off light. The middle layer is called the chromosphere, and the outer layer is called the corona. Solar eruptions take place on the Sun. One type looks like a ribbon and is called a prominence. A prominence leaps out of the chromosphere into the corona. A solar flare is another type of eruption and is similar to a volcano. An explosion of waves and particles erupts into space. It causes a bright spot in the chromosphere that can last for minutes or hours. A constellation is a group of stars that forms a pattern. Scientists have identified 88 constellations and have given them names like the Little Dipper. The Little Dipper contains a star called Polaris. Polaris is also called the North Star and is almost directly above the North Pole. Got it? Sure you do.
Well, dear students, this is everything for today. See you next time, and don't forget to complete your researches to increase your marks of the first term. Thanks so much. Bye.